Hello, Gosha.
Hello, Anna. Thank you for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a wonderful idea to have a Polish focus in the festival. And to start this discussion together, I wanted to ask you, as we do for all our guests, what is your first memory of dance?
I think I've always been a performer, really. When I lived with my parents, I was very young. We lived in a block of flats on a first floor, and we had a big terrace because it was overlooking kind of a roof. Our flat was overlooking a roof, and they made a terrace out of it. And I used this as a playground and as a place where I could rollerblade and perform different figures, different dances for the neighbors who were watching from the windows, from the balconies. So that's my first memory, yes.
Beautiful. Do you have a special character or persona who inspired you to go for dancing then as a profession?
I can't think of one person, but there certainly have been people who have influenced my choices, and sometimes they were really quite random. I mean, why I started attending kindergarten, where one of my friends told me that she was going to evening classes for children to learn ballet, so I decided to try that. And then there I met again someone who said, oh, well, I'm going to take my exams to vocational ballet school, and I didn't quite know what that entailed at the time, but I said, oh, I'll try that too. And at the same time, I was also quite interested in sports, so there was a little bit of a choice there. And I think what scared me a little bit, when I realized that I had the opportunity to join the ballet school, was the idea of leaving home, leaving my parents. The school was not very far, but most of the children lived in a boarding school. So I really had to give it some thought about, spending less time with my friends, with my family, and I took the plunge. And yes, I think that was the right choice for me. Yes.
Before arriving to Ballet of Wroclaw, you had a career, an international career in different companies. What was the milestones for you as a performer and then as a choreographer?
Yeah. Well, I went to a ballet school, as mentioned. In Poland, it's a very very standardized system. We have 5 ballet schools. They're called state ballet schools. The one I went to in Bytom is the oldest, and ballet really is the main dance subject there. And then with time, contemporary dance was introduced alongside character dance, and also some academic studies of dance, as well as all the other academic subjects. And when I first encountered contemporary dance, I completely fell in love with that way of moving. There was a new dance company that was just being established in Bytom, in the city where my school was. So every opportunity I had to learn more about contemporary dance and to do workshops with that company, I took that. And somehow there was a feeling and an expectation that I would use my ballet dancing skills, which I did do. I continued to do so. But I think that contemporary has always been something that I wanted to work towards. So I worked for a ballet company, I worked in Denmark for Royal Danish Ballet, among others. And then I think my strongest associations after that are with Gothenburg Ballet in Sweden, which at the time kind of had a mix of repertoire, still some classics, but mainly moving towards neoclassical and creation. And then from there I moved to England to join Rambert, where we really mainly focused on work that was made on the company dances at the time. So that was something that I really enjoyed and thrived in.
Can you tell us more about your first experience, your first piece that you made? It was in Sweden, or yes? How did it went? What did you pick as a topic, or could you tell us more?
Yeah, it started really simply, I think, with the color. I went to an exhibition of Yves Klein, and I was just really inspired by the depth of and the texture of his work, and I just wanted to see what that might look like translated to dance. So I was in Gothenburg at the time, and I made a very short piece on 3 of my friends, I guess I tried to interpret the feelings, the emotions evoked in me through that exhibition with movement. So it was very abstract, very simple, but that was the first step. And I didn't really think of myself as a choreographer for some time, but I did notice that in the studio, working in a professional environment with experienced choreographers, that I always I had something to offer that was often welcomed and accepted. And with time, I gained more confidence to perhaps develop my own voice.
How do you think then what's your envision of the ballet of Wroclaw's mission, repertoire, obviously, between ballet and contemporary dance?
Yeah, well, it is a relatively big company of 34 dancers, and we are part of an opera house, so the dancers perform not only in dance productions but also alongside opera singers. And I really see my role more as a custodian, I think. It is not my company, it is a company that I look after and I want to develop. I inherited quite a young company. There's a lot of people in the company that only just joined, kind of recently, shortly before I arrived as a director. And I really wanted to create the best conditions for them to develop. I've noticed that perhaps the thinking, I haven't worked in Poland for 26 years. I graduated and I left Poland. So the job that I now hold in Wrocław as the director of the ballet is my first job in Poland. So that was also quite a big step for me. Yes, kind of coming to Poland and rediscovering what is happening there. And the company, in terms of the dancers, is very international. But I'd say the mindset was very classical, and I feel that while we should be able to offer that to the dance company, to our public at a high level, I don't think that we can necessarily compete with companies like the National Ballet, which has a cast of 80 dancers, in terms of what we are presenting. So I want the dancers to continue to grow in that technique, and we have classical ballets in our repertoire. We had Giselle, which I'm sure will come back at some point. We had Napoli, which I introduced last year as a premiere. Okay. I think technically it's one of the most difficult ballets out there, and they did an amazing job. So it was nice for me to see them take on that challenge. Because I didn't have much time to prepare the repertoire when I first arrived. At first I very much based the program on restagings of the works that I knew, choreographers that I felt would collaborate well with the group of dancers that I had. Sure. So some choices that also of the works that haven't been seen in Poland before. So, for example, Meryl Tankard, we had her Bolero, which is coming back now in one of the first programs. Javier de Frutos, we saw a duet from him in the program here in Montreal, followed by the big Bonneville production, co-created for us by Johan Coburg, one of the stars of the Danish Ballet. And then, for a long time, since the war in Ukraine broke out, we couldn't really perform to music by Russian composers. So that also kind of limited the amount of works that we could do from the existing repertoire as well as the new ones. So things like Swan Lake, Nutcracker, The Sleeping Beauty, but also Prokofiev, Romeo and Juliet, we could not play. It is slowly coming back to our repertoire, but I was looking also for productions that present a greater range in terms of music. so music by Danish Danish composers. Now we have Creation, a piece that I made last year, The Snow Queen, to the music by Max Richter. So really expanding our horizons. And I think my dream, my hope is that we can have more creations. I think, you know, for me as a dancer, that's always been the greatest joy. I realized that it's not necessarily the case for every dancer, which is why I'm really looking for a range of experiences and aesthetics and styles for the city, because we are the main company there, the only really one that can create and propose something at this scale. So I really want to create a range for everybody to find something for themselves, whether it's their first time in the theatre or whether they've been, you know, fans of our company for some time, providing sort of new experiences.
I think that you're right. The mission of such a company in a city is to open also horizons while also keeping the roots and the tradition alive, which is kind of sometimes tricky, but the balance that you managed to propose and also here in the festival is a beautiful display of this politics and this vision that you have. How did you meet with the festival, and how this collaboration builds up?
So I met Rafik Sabah, the director of the festival, last year during the Polish Dance Platform. We presented one of our pieces, Bolero, at the gala, the opening gala, and we started a conversation, and we exchanged, you know, our kind of hopes for, you know, for the future, for the festival here, and for my company, which doesn't really tour much. We're based in Wrocław. We have wonderful audiences, and the touring model that I'm familiar with from the UK does not really apply at the moment in Poland, at least not to our company. But I'm also aware that the dancers are hungry for those experiences, and I've always been curious about you know, Canada, Quebec. I had in the past an exchange with a different company, but it was with a music quartet, Vox Populi, who came to Newcastle. We had a small tour with them in the UK. So it is something, you know, the city has always kind of intrigued me. So it was wonderful to be able to see the festival last year as an observer, to familiarize myself with the different stages, and see what the possibilities are. And you know, it wasn't really possible to bring the full company this year, but the exchange is growing, and in an interesting way. I think it was really lovely to have the opportunity to host also 3 of the Montreal-based choreographers, Pauline Gervais and Charles Brecard and Jason Martin. Yes. So I know that we have a program specifically for young choreographers. So the 3 choreographers from Montreal came and worked with our dances and presented that as part of a program of choreography, also collaborating with young Polish composers from the local music academy. So I thought it was a really rich experience. It was not, you know, they don't have a lot of time. There's a lot of, you know, limitations, but that sometimes is kind of just that push that makes you just really focus and create. And this is actually how my relationship started with that company. I was there 6 years ago now on a similar kind of exchange while I still lived in the UK. So I know what the limitations and the opportunities are, and I try to kind of remove the limitations and grow the opportunities. So it was nice to have the 3 choreographers from Quebec in March. I know the dancers had a wonderful time, and I think what they created was really, really impressive. So yes, it's kind of multi-leveled, multi-layered collaboration that is still
a real partnership. Yes,
I hope so. Yes.
Like sowing the seeds of this first step, and then I'm sure it's going to expand for new possibilities, new opportunities, and new creations to develop in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. It's lovely to speak with you.
Wish you a very end of festival, and see you very soon, I hope, in Quebec.
Thank you.